Hi, and welcome back. I'm Kamika, and this is Well Balanced Wallet, where I help you create healthy money habits and live a life that you love on your current budget. In today's video, I want to share our payday routine. I'm going to take you through everything that happens when we get paid. I'm going to talk about how we distribute our money, what we do for savings, and how we make the most of our income. Before we get into the payday routine, I think it makes sense for me to talk about how our finances are set up. My husband and I share finances. So we didn't want to figure out who pays for what, who splits this, how to split that. So all of our money goes into one pile and it works well for us. We have one main checking account that we use, and it's a joint account. And then we also have a savings account attached to that one. And then we have one account that's only for our mortgage. And then there's also another checking account that I had before we got married that I never closed because there's a savings account and a Christmas account attached to that one. And then last thing, we use a credit card for all of our spending, and we pay the credit card off every month. Now, side note, there is absolutely no reason for us to have all of these separate accounts, but we had our accounts like this before we started using YNAB. If you use YNAB, you don't need all of these accounts. You can use one account and separate your money in your budget however you want to. So just a little side note. Maybe one day we'll get around to consolidating some of these accounts, but it just seems like so much work for me right now. So we're okay. It's been working for us like this for years. So at the moment, I'm not going to change anything, but it's not necessary. So that is all of our accounts. Now let's talk about the budget and income. Our budget software is YNAB, like I mentioned, and it has my heart. I love this budget program. I've been using it since it was a standalone software that you could only use on the computer that you loaded the software to. So it's been a while. So typically I manage our finances all the way around just because I enjoy it, but we both take an active role in looking at the budget before we spend and talking to each other before we make any type of crazy purchases. We're a month ahead on our finances, so on the first of the month, we're able to budget for the whole month at one time since we've already saved that money up in our budget. If you want to see what that looks like, be sure to check out our past budget with me's, and I'll link them here. In case you're interested in that. Most of our bills are on auto pay, and I have reminders set in my phone for the ones that I have to go in and pay manually. And at this point, I don't think it's anything except for our phone bill. As far as the income goes, we both work full time, and then we also do freelance work and bring in extra money that way. We get paid bi-weekly, and we used to get paid on the same weeks, but now since I started my new job, we get paid on opposite weeks. So we get paid every week, essentially. My husband's freelance money comes in at random times throughout the month, and we use that money just to add to our budget. So if our buffer category isn't filled at that time, then we'll add it to the buffer, or if we're saving for something specific, we'll use it for that. My freelance money comes at the end of every month, and my freelance money doesn't ever touch our budget. It never sees our household budget. I have it in a separate business account for a Well Balanced Wallet, and that money stays there just to pay for all of the expenses for the YouTube channel, the blog, and anything else that I need for Well Balanced Wallet. That way we don't take away anything from our household budget to run the YouTube channel and the blog. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned, but my freelance money comes from being a virtual assistant, as well as any money that I make through the YouTube channel and the blog. So this is our setup. This is how it works for now. It may change in the future, but this is what's working for us right now. Okay, so now for the payday routine. Okay, so the first thing that I do on the days that we get paid is to come into the budget and import and categorize any transactions that have come in since the last time I opened our budget. So as of right now, there's nothing to import because I just did our budget like a day or so ago. But that's the first thing that I do. I want to make sure that I've added everything, we're not missing anything. I make sure that everything's in the proper category just to make sure our budget is nice and neat. And this gives me a chance to add in any transactions that I may have missed during the week, and I get to see a full picture of our finances. Step 2 is to cover any overspending. So I go into the budget and I just go down the budget and make sure that any of the yellow categories are not negative. If they're negative, that means that we've overspent and I need to cover it with another category. So I just go through the budget. We're good here. I don't see any negative amounts. So we're good to go. And we don't typically go over budget a lot, but when we do, it's because we know we have money in another category that we're going to pull that money from. So we don't just go over budget without a plan, I guess you would say. So I just want to make that clear. We're not just out here overspending money without a backup plan. Okay, so step 3 is where I add our income and distribute our savings. So I've added our income here. It's up the top. And I do want to mention that I budget a month ahead. So we're going to go to November. And when I do our savings, every time we get paid, I do 10% of the paycheck towards home maintenance and repairs. And then I do 10% towards one of our savings categories. I am not going to touch on any investments or anything in this video because that's not something that I do on just a regular payday. So that's not going to be in this video, but we are going to do our savings. So 10% is $158. So we'll just add $158 to home maintenance and repairs. And then one of our savings categories, let's just do medical expenses this time, $158. Okay, so now we have $1269.39 left and we get to move on to step 4. So for step 4, we are going to distribute the rest of our paycheck. Now, I mentioned that we're a month ahead, so when we get our paycheck, we like to fill up our buffer category. The amount of buffer that we need is $3,600, and that is where every single paycheck goes until we reach $3,600. So instead of trying to do math, I just like to zero this category out to see how much we have total. And we have $3,021.33. So of course, all of that goes into the buffer. So we'll do that now. So the buffer category is almost complete. We only need a little less than $600. So I'm going to talk about what would happen if our buffer category was already full. If we were able to fill up our buffer category this time, the next step would be to distribute the rest of the money. So we need a little less than $600. So on our next payday, we'll put enough money to get $3,600 here. And then the rest of that money goes into one of our sinking fund categories down here. And it just depends on what our goals are at the time of that paycheck, where it goes in the budget. And last but not least, depending on what paycheck this is, if it's at the end of the month, this is where I would also go in and pay off our credit card because we do pay that in full every month. I do have a video about using credit cards and YNAB. If you're interested in that, I'll link it here. And that is everything that we do on payday. It takes 15 minutes tops. And I think the reason that it takes 15 minutes is because I stay on top of my budget. I'm in our budget at least every other day. Definitely not every day, but at least every other day. And then every Friday when we get paid, I'm in our budget. So this takes me roughly 15 minutes or a little less. And that's it. That's how we budget our money. So that pretty much sums up our payday routine. Let me know in the comments what your payday routine looks like. And also let me know if you're working towards being a month ahead. That's all for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and click the link on your screen right now for more Well Balanced Wallet content. See you there.